All right, welcome to the portion where we're going to talk about gear and setting up equipment and stuff like that. I'm actually going to do gear in the next video. This one's going to be really short and just talk about setting up your environment a little bit. So you guys see this thing right here? Hang on, wait a minute. Camera angles, lighting, mics, that's what we're going to talk about. I actually got to talk about mics first just because I think it's funny. Raise your hand if you got one of these things right here. Boom. You see this? This is ugly. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you to change your podcasting mic, but I did want to share that I indeed am actually not using this at all. This is not the podcast microphone you're listening, so I might as well like shove it back in there. In fact, you can't see it. I'll show it to you in a second. Or actually, you can see it. I put it down in the shot. It's actually been in the shot for a while now. This is the mic I'm using, and it's out of the way. I usually have it up out of the shot. It's actually like down in. I need to move it up like just an inch. I just thought it was funny. I'm not telling you to change your podcasting mic, but I don't know. Maybe I am. If you're going to be doing YouTube really seriously, it's worth considering checking out a condenser mic where it doesn't have to be right in front of your face like a dynamic mic will be, or at least figuring out some sort of setup that looks a little bit better and more professional. Like that's half the reason I have this one right here is because it looks a little bit better and more professional while also being functional. This is the Rode Pod mic. I really like it. I also have like the PR40 that I use occasionally, but I like this one. And this is a good setup that doesn't distract too much from YouTube. Also, let's move into camera and lighting. What do you see right now? Here's me. I'm looking at myself, so if I'm not looking right at you, don't feel weird. You see me. I'm in like this half of the screen. Why is that? Well, for one, I shoot a lot of videos like this. And even if I do use this mic, it's because it's not blocking my face. I could talk on the mic like this. You can still see my lips. It's not like this, right? Like I hate when podcasters do this and this is all you see. This is dumb. I don't like this. I'm just saying. Framing the shot. So camera angles. We'll talk about gear in the next video. Webcams, you want to go hardcore on a DSLR or a mirrorless camera like I have or something. All that's great, but don't do it to the top of your computer. In fact, I'm actually going to switch right now to this little guy, my phone, and the audio quality is about to get poor. I apologize in advance, but I'm actually going to give you the tour of my office and just share a few things about setup and more specifically, more importantly, lighting. So let's go do that. There we go. Say hello and or goodbye. So I'm actually going to turn that off for a few minutes. And here's my webcam, which I only use for like Zoom meetings. I don't use this for any YouTube or video stuff. For one, it's not the best quality, but also two, it's because I'm not set up for this. You can see no lights right here pointing at me, so the lighting is bad. There's also a window behind me. We'll talk about this light in a second. So this webcam is in a terrible position. Don't do this. It's not gonna work for the lighting that we're about to talk about, and it's up way too high. Like my head and my eyes are like right here. It's like a full 6 or 7 inches above that. And pointing down, it generally looks bad. So lesson number one in cameras and camera angles is just have it roughly at eye level, maybe a little bit below. Just don't have it like super down here where you're like doing this sort of stuff. Now you can see double chins. And up here where my webcam is, you could probably see that all right now. It also looks just kind of weird and kind of bad, especially since that light's on right here. But anywhere around here is gonna be better. And when I turn to face this light, this is roughly like where my camera was at. It's actually a little bit further back or whatnot. But right here, eye level. Okay, let's talk about filling up the frame. Too close, almost never a good thing, right? Too far away, also almost never a good thing. I was gonna like move back here. But if you're showing something, that could be like an additional thing. I don't even know if you can hear me right now. But just frame things. Just frame things. Like you want to take up the entire screen, that's fine. Or like talking head and body, talking body, that's fine too. Just be smart about it. Just make it look decent to your eyes and you'll be fine. Now let's talk about lighting because this is actually more important. This is the most important thing in this video. So I will go into hang on, let me just like scoot back here. I will go into a 3-point lighting explanation really quick, even though I think you should probably forget about it afterwards. 3-point lighting is used in film and movies and YouTubes and whatever. You can Google it to learn more, but it basically just means there are 3 lights. The first one and the main one being a key light. And this is this thing. So let me come up here. This guy right here. This is my key light. We'll talk about gear in the next video, but it is positioned at a 45-degree angle off of my camera. My camera is here. It's shooting straight at me this way. There's no light right here, really. There's that light back there, just providing some general ambient room light, which is also very important. I'll talk about that in a second. But the main light that's illuminating my face really well, this big one right here, and it's 45 degrees off, and also like 2 feet above me. Like when I sit down, this is right in front of my face right now. So this is what I see when I'm looking. This is over here, shining at the side of my face at an angle. It's not way over there. Like I don't get hardly any light from that window. It would be bad coming at a 90-degree angle, but 45 degrees, perfect. And let me say this to the camera right here. If that's all the lighting you do, now you are done. Try to have the light illuminating your front, your face. If you're in front of a window and the light is coming at you this way, even if it's right in front of you, not at a 45-degree angle, that's better than the opposite. The opposite would be this. Like there's hardly any light looking at me on my front. All the light is behind me. If you have a window directly behind you, that's generally bad. You would generally want the windows to be in front of you. You want the light shining at you. Now, especially if you have glasses, this is what you're gonna get. If you have that huge window in front of you, if you have huge light there, you're gonna see reflections. You shouldn't even be able to see like my pupils. I don't know how this looks, but that's part of the reason you do it 45 degrees off is so now you can actually see my eyes. My face is illuminated from a 45-degree angle and you can actually see my eyes without glare and reflections off my glasses right there. That's the most important part of lighting, period. If you don't worry about anything in your background, you don't have to. I am gonna talk about it, but this is it. A key light, a main light, preferably hitting you at a 45-degree angle or at least coming towards the front of you. The most strong light in your room, whether it's from natural light from a window or a big light that you buy or something like that, in front of you, hits your face, illuminates your face. That and the camera at roughly like eye height, you are now good to go, really. Now, let's go for more advanced users here. There's lots of other lights we could talk about. And again, go Google 3-point lighting if you want to learn the other ones. One would be a fill light. If I turn this around right here, here's the key light, there's the camera. 45 degrees from the other way is a fill light. Now this isn't a light, this is literally just a board. Welcome to my super secret tip right here. This was $2 at Walmart. In fact, I cut it in half. There's the other half, and there's another one behind it. $2 at Walmart, it's plain white. It's like, I don't know, it's not cardboard, but it's something like that. Foam board, I think. And I put it up here as a reflector. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but let's try. So here's that light. Key light, and when I add this up, now it's like adding in just a little bit of fill light to the other side of my face. This side of my face. Here's without, and here's with. And if I put it even closer, like you can kind of see, like it's filling out the rest of my face right here. The light bounces off this. This is my fill light. You could have a whole separate light if you wanted. I just use it to bounce light. You can see it's bouncing this light from the key light. Some of it's going over there and bouncing up towards me. I usually have this pointing at me. Sometimes I will actually have an additional little bitty light right here. It's actually called the Way Light. That's the brand. It's a cheap brand on Amazon. It was like 60, 70 bucks. And I turn this on. I just turn it on. Sometimes I have it colored like this. Sometimes I have it white. So I'll just put that right there. Now this is like bouncing off and giving me like a nice little pink glow that you might be able to see. I'm not sure if you'll see it on this or not, but that's a fill light. And then the only other type of light is the background lights. Now, if you go watch my YouTube videos, I have that background light. I have that background light. I have these background lights. These are my overhead lights that are dimmed all the way because they're super yellow and ugly, by the way. Sometimes I'll do colors. Sometimes I'll just do normal daylight. Now, it's at this point in the video where I want to introduce you to Kelvin. You'll see these numbers a lot. 5600K, 5600K, 4800K, 2300K. Whenever you go buy light bulbs, what this really means is how warm or cool are the lights. So I have my light set up right here. This is a super warm light. That's yellow. That's like 3000 something Kelvin. This is a super cool light. I don't know if you can see the difference, but that's like 6,000 or something like that. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but I usually set these somewhere around 5600 just because that's like normal for my room. In the next video, I'm actually going to talk to you about white balance and how it's just a magic bullet that conquers great looking video. But 5600 is roughly where I leave these. Sometimes I'll go even like a little bit dimmer, so it's not super noticeable, or sometimes I'll even go like colors, just because it has a little bit of texture and a little bit of fun. That's background light. You don't want any of this to really be super in focus, like my paintings there, the couch or whatnot. It's just kind of like it's just there. Me is what's illuminated from this big key light, a little bit of my fill light right back here, if you can see me. And this is just like kind of background stuff to fill in the shot. Okay, so that's all I really think most people need to know about setup. Don't use your webcam like with super light in the background. Even if you use a webcam, just try and get it like on some sort of tripod or stand that's like roughly eye level, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Doesn't matter, it's up to you. And then just illuminate your front. Preferably at a 45-degree angle so it's not like this. Like this is great. If you have a little bit of fill light or just room light in general, that would be great too. Like I'm actually gonna come over here and just crank up these. There we go. I turned on these lights as bright as they would go. Now they're super yellow, they're super warm. So I would have to balance that out if I really wanted a clean look in post-production, which I hate doing, I don't suggest you do. But even with those on, here's what this looks like without the key light and the background lights. So there it is. This is just the overhead light at the moment. I personally think this looks terrible and it's not ideal. I would much rather have some sort of light, whether it's from a window or key light or anything, hit me like this. And then there's always some nice little background lights, even if it's like really soft like this. Could just be like a little lamp in the background or something like that. So there's my setup and lighting guide. And now let's move on to talking about gear.